Welcome back to the Wise Mindset Guy podcast. I'm your host, Nat Plastino, and I thank you once again for tuning into my show. Today, we'll be diving deep into the idea of conquering the fear of procrastination. Now, why do we procrastinate? Why do we put ourselves through the idea of prolonging to do important tasks or goals in life, even in some cases, to the last minute? I know I have suffered from this, and many of you who are listening today will probably agree they have done the same. We may actually, and I'm going to give you a little bit of insight, that we may actually be doing this on purpose, just to blame the action at hand instead. I would refer to this as more like self-handicapping. Have you ever had an important task coming up, and then right before you decided to do something else, causing detriment to that assignment? Perfect example, if you're in school, you have an exam tomorrow, and then instead of deciding it would be more fun to play video games instead of studying. This concept describes, an action of creating an artificial handicap so that the given task is not indicative of one's ability, right? Basically, a person, will create a strategy to avoid effort in hopes that any potential failure will not hurt their self-esteem. In a nutshell, I would say it's rather than you admitting your lack of ability, it is easier to blame the handicap. We sometimes don't realize that we consciously tied our self-worth to the actual task at hand. That fear then, drives us to avoid the task in all possibility, right? It is easier to fail than to avoid the possible consequence of failure. The way we could be looking at failure is a learning experience. We should be looking at it as a learning experience. Those experiences, whether positive or negative, start to shape our core beliefs. I'll get more into our core beliefs. Our beliefs, also, have an effect on procrastination. The core beliefs that shape us influence human behavior, right? Which then, guides us towards our goals, motivates us, and defines who we are, right? However, beliefs can have negative consequences. For example, if an individual believes that to be good at a particular sport, they will sometimes think that it's based on talent and speed. If we feel that we lack speed and talent, then we won't have the motivation to improve ourselves at that sport. On the flip side, having the belief that you worked hard to improve your ability to do important tasks or life goals will actually have a positive effect on how we prolong things. The idea of growth and constant improvement starts to take root, causing laziness to be a non-factor. Don't get me wrong. We do prolong our goals to help deal with stress. It happens. Stress is a part of life, right? But it helps to soothe our stress by doing something fun and relaxing. It's important. We shouldn't be thinking about that we just work and then not have any downtime. However, the reality just distracts us momentarily from the job, right? So how do we avoid these distractions? We do it with self-awareness. So what are the keys to self-awareness? Just one thing is just admit it. Admit to yourself that you are procrastinating. You have to be in full awareness that what you are doing is distracting from your ultimate goal. Be kind and forgive yourself. This is extremely difficult to do. We don't forgive ourselves for what we do, and it causes distraction to get worse. Once you identify this, that it is an actual distraction, you're procrastinating, start to move forward. Another thing we can do is, of course, deconstruct, right? We recognize that the stress will be there. It's always there. Stress is always going to be a factor in your life. Take a deep breath and then get through the task in bite-sized pieces. We tend to look at the end goal and getting there as fast as possible. Whether it's just better to digest each micro goal. We don't need to eat a 4-course dinner in 5 minutes. Instead, take one bite at a time. Find your motive, of course. Another way is to find your motive. You have to understand that why you need to do what needs to be done. If you have a strong why or motive, the why is important, then how you accomplish that goal is much easier. You will actually figure out how to reach that milestone once you realize that the reason you want to achieve it is strong enough in you. I'll say it again, it's important. You want to achieve it, it is strong enough in you. To make sure it is strong enough in you. Another thing, of course, is accountability. Get yourself an accountability partner. Find someone that you trust to help motivate you and stay close to your goals. People who go to the gym, they get a trainer to come along with them, right? Once you stray off path, then that person can be there to recognize when you distract yourself from your goals and keep you on track. Anybody can be your accountability partner, whether it is a friend, a spouse, or close family member. If none of those kinds of people are available, then you can always hire a mentor. Of course, my wife and I, we use each other as mentors all the time. If one of us is down and our goals are not being met, we kind of boost each other up. It really helps. She does it to me, I give it to her. It all works out in the end. And of course, one other thing we can do is find your priority. Remove all distractions in order to achieve those goals. Understand what your priority is and focus all your attention on it. Perfect example is where I heard about many famous athletes who sacrifice spending time with friends and family to focus practice on those sporting skills. If you know what your priority is, then it's smoother sailing. One example would be Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant is a famous basketball player. When he was going to go to the NBA for the first time, he told all his friends and family that he needs to spend at least, I think it was 1 or 2 years just focusing on basketball, and he could not go out with them, spend any time with them. This is a great, tool for him, and it, of course, worked because he became one of the best basketball players in the world. Another thing also is focus, rest, and repeat. Focus on what needs to get done, but remember, take a break. Your brain and body cannot center on doing a task for hours on end without resting. Take the time to rejuvenate. We can do this by, reading a book. We can go for a walk. We can stream a little bit. Have some downtime. Really important. So we as human beings are not perfect. Our minds are hardwired to do very complicated tasks, but are also easily distracted. The mind trap of procrastination can take hold of us, right? And with great fear and put a challenge on our self-esteem. So prolonging our goals, everyone, can happen from time to time, but only if we allow it to conquer our priorities. Embrace the fear, and then we can prevail. That's all for today, guys. I appreciate you listening in today. If you like this episode, please share with a friend or a family member in need. And if you like the episode, please hit subscribe. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. This is Nat Plastino signing off. Bye for now.